Right, so I was a dumbass kid. For most of my secondary school life in Singapore, I was just genuinely stupid and unknowledgeable about how things worked. But I mean, I find that I always look at my younger self and go, wow, what a dumbass. Hopefully, you experience that as well, because that's like a sign of maturity and actually developing as a person. But anyway, since I was a dumbass kid, I made many dumb decisions in secondary school, which caused me to be unhappy, sleep deprived, have shitty grades, shitty health, etc. I would always be woken up by my grandma at like 6 a.m. and I would be still sleepy as hell and not be able to stay awake. I would literally walk to the bathroom to like brush my teeth and change my clothes and whatnot. But instead of actually brushing my teeth and changing my clothes, I would end up sitting on the toilet seat and going back to sleep. That's how like sleep deprived I was. I dreaded going to school like every single morning. I was just listening to music on the way to school, trying to like distract myself from the pain. I had a Brawl Stars addiction, a YouTube Shorts addiction, a porn addiction. I was also skinny, fat, unfit, and I literally failed the NAFA test with a 19-minute time, bro, for the 2.4 km run, bro. So basically, I was a total loser, right? Of course, no one likes being a total loser, which is why I changed. But more specifically, I learned a few very important lessons which skyrocketed like every aspect of my life. I got happier, healthier, somewhat fitter, and I also ended up scoring a raw 7 L1R5 for my O levels exams whilst just studying 2 hours a day. By the way, my name is Isaac, and I help O level students get single digit L1R5s without sacrificing their free time and happiness. If you've watched me before and you want me to personally help you start getting A1s in 90 days while studying less, click the top link in the description below. And I'll make sure that you turn into that student who can just like sit at his desk, study for like 2 hours a day, and then spend the rest of the day chilling and still get single digit L1R5. So I'm making this video because the things that I'm gonna talk about in this video, very little Singaporean secondary school students actually end up learning these things despite how important they are. So I'm seeing like batch after batch after batch of like students going into secondary school and making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And like each batch is none the wiser than the previous batch for some reason, which isn't how which isn't how it's supposed to be, right? Like, isn't it supposed to be each batch should be smarter than the previous batch? So I'm making this video so that you can learn the same lessons that I did and avoid making the same major mistakes that everyone makes and I also made. And hopefully this video ends up going viral and ends up on the Straits Times or something so that everyone is enlightened about how secondary school life works. My promise to you in this video is that I'll teach you how to have a happier, healthier, more fulfilling secondary school life, and also the secret to getting a single digit L1R5. Nice. So I'm gonna talk about number one, single digit L1R5 is possible for anyone, no exceptions. Number two, health should be the priority. And last but not definitely not least, you need to have a life. Right? Okay, so part one. A single digit L1R5 is possible for anyone. No exceptions at all. If you didn't know, I very often go onto the SG exams subreddit to look for like video ideas. And every time I go on there, I would see a post going like, oh, I fucked up, I failed this subject and that subject, my L1R5 is like 22 or 30 something. And at the end of the post, they will always ask like, is it possible for me to get a single digit L1R5 at this stage? 99% of the time, honestly, the answer is yes. Okay. If you are taking the O levels, you have to stop thinking about single digit L1 R5s and elite JCs as this unachievable thing that's like a pie in the sky, cause it's really not, right? I used to think it was a big deal to get a raw 6 or a raw 7. I mean, I had more self-confidence than most people, but I still had like a sliver of a doubt of like, am I really gonna be able to score a single digit? And when I finally achieved the raw 7, it was like it's really not that big of a deal. I did it like studying 2 hours a day. I didn't have any tuition and I wasn't naturally smart or anything. So you have to break those like limiting beliefs inside of you that stop you from getting the things that you want. If you want to be able to achieve something like, say, single digit L1 R5, fuck, don't mind my handwriting. Anyway, single digit L1 R5, you have to stop thinking that this is a big deal. And I promise you, if you take this advice and you keep working hard to achieve the single digit, when you enter the hall and receive the O-level cert and report card and you see that you achieved it, I promise you, you're gonna be like, whatever. It wouldn't be as happy or exciting as you think it would be. And you'll just go back to living your life. It's just not gonna be that big of a deal. Don't get me wrong, it's not gonna be easy getting the single digit, but it's nowhere as hard as you think it is right now. Even if you're literally failing every single subject right now, you can still make a comeback. I've seen people make academic comebacks and literally go from double digit from prelims to a single digit in O levels. It's really not uncommon, and they'll like shock everyone and make everyone else insecure and stuff. So there are ways to fast track your progress in academics. There are leverages you can use, levers that you can pull, which I'll talk about in the next part. So even if you're like down bad, really, really down bad, like I don't know, you're failing every subject and you're addicted to vaping and you're masturbating 6 times a day or something and you have some like, I don't know, mental disability. I don't care, right? I don't care. You can still do it. You can still win. Okay? So another thing is progress is exponential. So it's a common misconception that progress is linear, but the thing is nothing in life is linear, right? Progress is exponential. So the graph of effort to progress looks like this. So basically what this means that most students think that if they have an L1 R5 of say 20 right now, for example, and if they keep working hard and doing the right things, they will be able to decrease it to 16 in the next exam, and then in 12 in the exam after that, and then 8, and so on and so forth. It doesn't actually work that way. Success is never linear, it's exponential, meaning that when you first start putting in the effort, you get basically little to no progress at all. But after you keep putting in the effort, keep going, they'll reach a point where like basically your everything will click and your progress will like shoot upwards. So if you have an L1 R5 of like 20 right now, let's say, for example, and you keep working hard doing the right things, the next exam you still get a 20. And in the exam after that, you'll probably only still get a 19. And then in the next exam after that, you get a 9. Seriously, that's how it works, and so on and so forth. By the way, I'm just using these numbers and time frames as examples. It's possible to make progress much faster than this. So the whole thing about success being exponential is that it can trick a lot of students into thinking they aren't making any progress even though they are, because they're putting in the effort but they're only at the stage where they don't get much results for their effort, which can cause a lot of them to come to the conclusion that a single digit L1 R5 is just simply not possible for them, which is, like I said, completely false. So just keep this concept in your mind, and so that you don't fall into this trap. By the way, quick shameless plug, if you want to make an academic comeback, click the top link in the description below. Thank you. So part 2, health should be the priority. The thing about secondary school and the O levels is that it's actually not supposed to be that difficult. You do have the ability to understand like the concepts of like I don't know, organic chemistry, or write a good English essay, or speed run math questions and whatnot. You can do all of those things. But for most students, what's actually holding them back from getting straight A1s is the fact that their brain and their body are operating at like 1% of their full potential. That's barely an exaggeration. They're addicted to their video games and their social media. They watch short form content and basically give themselves like ADHD symptoms. They eat sugar and processed food made by food companies who don't give a shit about their health. And a lot of them barely exercise. And most importantly, they sleep less than 8 hours a day. Almost every single problem that every student has usually stems from poor sleep. Can't listen in class, poor sleep. Can't focus while doing your work, poor sleep. Unable to resist the urge to scroll on social media or eat junk food or play video games or jack off, poor sleep. Overthinking, poor sleep. Anxious and worried, poor sleep. Shitty relationship with your parents or with your girlfriend, poor sleep. And fucking making crappy decisions in life, poor sleep. Skinny fat and unable to build muscle, poor sleep. Low testosterone, poor sleep. Okay, I think you get the point, but like basically give me any problem you have and I can probably not only link it to sleep but also why explain why sleep is a big factor in that problem, because you know there's a difference between sleep being a factor and a big factor. So I promise you, every chapter you don't understand, every question you can't answer in the exams is because of this thing. And maybe your diet as well. Diet is the other important part that's actually comparable to sleep in terms of importance. So when I hear about students who sacrifice their sleep to study or do homework, which is by the way something I used to do, I just think to myself like that's just freaking stupid. The thing about sleep and general health is that it's the foundation of everything. So the education system is designed to work only if you are healthy. So health is like this massive like lever that you can pull to skyrocket your grades. You wanna hear the secret to how I got a raw L1 out of 5 or 7? I was sleeping 9 hours per day. Pretty much every single day since July 2023, which is like, what? 4 months before the O level starts. Which meant that I set aside like 10 hours for sleep each day. Because I used to take a while to fall asleep. And I did this while everyone else was sacrificing their sleep to study more. And that's why I did better than them. And you're probably thinking right now, oh, I don't have time to sleep or work on my health because I need to study. And that's because you're not working on your sleep and your health. Because when you sleep better, your brain is sharper, you're more focused and productive than before. And you will literally be able to finish tasks that will usually take you around like 6 hours, 6, 7, 8 hours in just 2 hours once you improve your sleep. That's how I was able to study like 2 hours a day and still get my raw 7. And of course, most importantly, and I know you probably hear this a lot, but like, I mean, your health is important for you, right? I mean, do you really want to end up depressed, sad, lonely, anxious, overweight, unattractive, forgetful, less creative, have an increased risk of getting flus, colds, cancer, dementia, heart attack, stroke, diabetes, and suicide ideation just to get better grades? I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Just doesn't seem like a good return on investment, in my opinion. So your actionable step right now is to decide on your new sleep weight schedule. So, in my opinion, you should be as an O level student sleeping around 8 to 9 hours a day. I know no one does it, but I think this is a good amount to aim for. Meaning you set aside 9 to 10 hours a day for sleep if you actually takes up quite some time to fall asleep. So if you wake up at 6 a.m., you should be sleeping at around 8 to 9 p.m. If you think that's impossible and you don't have the time, I am currently sleeping at 7:30 p.m. and I'm in JC and I'm running a YouTube channel and I'm trying to start an online coaching business. But to be fair, I wake up at like 5 a.m. But this still means I'm setting aside 9.5 hours a day for sleep. So you should be able to do the same. Alright, part 3 of the video, and this is the most important part in my opinion, which is have a life, bro. I made this massive mistake for pretty much most of my secondary school life, which is being the guy with the boring ass life of just studying and looking at my phone all day and maybe sometimes going to the gym. If you aren't doing any productive activities other than studying and maybe going to the gym, you are making a huge mistake with your life, basically. When I started secondary school, for some reason I developed this false belief of, oh no, I don't have time for anything, I need to start studying more. I stopped playing sports, I stopped hanging out with my friends, and the only things I did for the rest of my secondary school days was basically study, scroll on social media, play video games, and then later I started hitting the gym as well. The first problem with this is that your life is just freaking boring. You spend most of the time doing things that you hate, aka studying, and you think that after you're done with your O levels or whatever, that you have freedom and finally be happy. So you're basically you're delaying happiness, right? You're deferring happiness, and it doesn't really work that way because after your holidays, you have JC or poly or whatever. And since you spend most of the time studying and deferring happiness and hating your life, you seek comfort in your video games, social media, and maybe even porn to like cope with the pain. Like seriously, if you have any addiction right now, it's probably because your life just sucks and you aren't working on what you are genuinely passionate about. My biggest regret in life right now is that I wanted to start this YouTube channel way before I actually started it. I first got the idea to start it in like mid 2023. I was like, it's okay, I'll do it later, I'll do it after O levels. And then after O levels, when I started recording videos, it was fucking amazing. Like it felt so good. I suddenly made huge progress towards cutting out social media, video games, and porn, and I was just like a happier person in general. So I was like, why the hell didn't I do this sooner? I could have literally been more productive, been a happier person. I would have burnt out less with studying because I was doing something I love at the same time, and I would have gotten more subscribers by now as well. So oddly enough, taking time out of your routine, even sacrificing some of your study time to work on something you're passionate about, could actually improve your productivity and your grades. But secondly, and more importantly, your teenage years when you're in secondary school or even JC really is when you should be just going out there and doing shit, right? Taking risks and making a bunch of mistakes. Cause then later you'll be an adult. I mean, you can still take risks as an adult in my opinion, but the costs are perceived to be higher. So right now you have your parents supporting you financially, putting food on the table and caring for you. You have a lot of freedom to do whatever you want. You can go start a YouTube channel or go start a blog or get into a martial art, learn an instrument, start a business, or make, I don't know, digital art and pursue whatever the hell you're genuinely passionate about. The only thing stopping you is you, basically. It's not time constraints, it's not your academics. If you've watched me before, you know very well that you can get a single digit L1 R5 studying like 2 hours a day. And so the only thing that's stopping you is your doubts and your fear of failure, most of which aren't even valid most of the time. Because so many people nowadays have this fear of failure, of making mistakes, and apparently I heard it's due to like the conditioning by the education system and whatnot. But whatever, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just here to help you live a better life. So you need to stop fearing failure, cause you know what failure is. Failure is a data point. So when you chase a certain goal, like getting a single digit at 1 out of 5, you're trying to get from point A, which is where you are right now, to point B, which is where you want to be. So failure tells you where you are between point A and point B. So basically every time you fail, you get like a data point. You get to see where you are on this line from point A to B. You get to see if you're here and you're making progress towards B. You get to see if you're actually moving away from B, or if you're moving in a completely random direction, so that you can correct course and eventually get to B and achieve your goals. Failure was never meant to be a negative thing for the logical part of your brain. It just tells you where you are on this plane of where you are and where you want to be, so that you can get closer to where you want to be, get closer to your goals. Also, if you fear risk, you have to realize that good things happen only when you take risks. Scientists have breakthroughs through risks. The top companies and CEOs of the world are made through risks. Every single positive change in the world came about because a good person took a calculated risk. And you know what causes bad things to happen? When good people don't take risks. Because the world is dangerous not because of bad people who do bad things, but because of good people who do nothing. Because, people naturally create problems and mistakes because because of natural human error. You can't blame them for that. They're only human after all. But these inevitable problems and mistakes can be catastrophic, so we need good people to go and solve them. For example, porn addiction in teenagers. Why is that a thing? Well, the porn companies got greedy probably, and now porn is very accessible and even somewhat targeted at teenagers. The social media companies also got pretty greedy. They started recommending more somewhat sexual, arousing, suggestive content, like short form content. People showing their ass and tits on TikTok, Instagram Reels, Shorts, and whatever. And we all know that no one over the age of 18 actually uses Shorts. But the thing is, greed is a natural human thing. People want to make more money. They might not know the negative consequences of making more money, but they do know that they want to make more money. And so we need movements and people to counteract those problems, like the no-fap movement, which is a flawed solution, but whatever, they're trying, and I can bet that they've changed a lot of lives for the better. So if you were to start doing something you're passionate about and you use it as a vehicle to spread a certain message or to start a certain movement, you can end up making a huge positive impact on the world. For example, right now I'm using YouTube as a vehicle to send the message of you don't have to sacrifice your life and happiness to get good grades for the O-levels. Imagine if my channel popped off and basically every student in Singapore knows about my channel. The rates of depression, mental health problems in secondary school students would fucking tank, right? And happiness and health would skyrocket. And the tuition industry will also take a hit, but that's besides the point. Okay, but what if you are selfish and you don't care about making a positive impact on the world? Well, ask yourself this. What is your future dream career? I'm assuming it's not gonna be some 9 to 5 job, right? I'm assuming it's gonna be something related to what you're actually passionate about, right? So why not start doing that now? If you do start doing the things you're passionate about, if you go start that YouTube channel or start that business or going fully into a sport or literally anything, there's millions of things out there that could be your passion, you could quite realistically make it your career in a few years from now and make a living, or possibly even more than just a living, doing the thing that you love. The truth is, not taking risks is a risk in of itself, because you risk living a mediocre, average, unhappy, unsatisfying life. You risk your 90-year-old self dying with regrets like, oh, I should have started doing this when I was 13 years old. Oh, I could have done that. Oh, I would have done this. Should have, would have, could have, but you fucking didn't, right? So you have to get outside your comfort zone. Follow your passion, like do what you love and go out there and like do shit, right? So your actionable step right now is to ask yourself, what problem do I see in my society right now that I want to fix? Or you could ask yourself, if you're selfish and you don't care about the world, what productive activity would I do simply because I enjoy it and not because of the material success I might get from it, like money, status, recognition, etc. What if I couldn't get any material success from doing this thing? Will I still be doing it? If you are able to answer one of these questions, I want you to start doing those things or preparing to do it today or tomorrow. If you want to solve a certain problem in society, social media is always a good place to start for now. Don't overthink it, just go onto your favorite social media platform that you use most of the time. Make a post or a video about the problem. If you just want to work on something you're passionate about right now, just do the necessary preparations, like book the martial arts class or get the stylus you need for the digital art or whatever. If you couldn't answer any of those questions and you really don't have anything that you're passionate about, just go out there and try new shit. Even if you can't exactly pinpoint what you are passionate about, you do have things in your head that you would like to try out, right? So do it. And if you realize that you don't really enjoy one of those things, then no problem. Just stop doing it and move on to the next thing until you find the thing that you are passionate about. Once again, do the preparations today. I hope this video is valuable. Once again, click the top link in the description below. If you want me to personally help you get A1s without sacrificing your free time, click the top link in the description below. I will make sure that when you report to school to receive your O-levels results a few months or a year from now, you'll see those A1s on your report card, and if that doesn't happen, you get a full refund. So give me any criticism or feedback in the comments below, and I wish you a good day.